All right, we'll call the meeting to order.
Usually come on me not being here yet.
And welcome, new member, Mayor Dill. Thank you for being here. And Happy New Year to the rest of you. First item is to approve the agenda, and I also want to inform you that, as I said last time, that I have to leave at 10:30. I have a dental appointment. I would just soon stay here, but
Yeah.
Hey, as long as you're going there, you want to take my lower plate with you?
yeah.
Okay.
So anyhow, and
She's pretty rough, so.
we have a very capable vice chair, and he'll be taking over the meeting. So,
I'll move to approve.
all right, we have a motion to approve the agenda,
Second.
and we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Very good. Opposed? Next item is the minutes from December 17th.
I'll move to approve them.
All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes,
I'll second.
and we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is the treasurer's report. Treasurer Kayla.
Yes, I will start off with the Keda cold weather testing, and nothing out of ordinary. Again, I recommend approving them, and just to let everybody know that we also have the financials, the bank and that from we should have the last meeting because they weren't here yet when we had the meeting, so that's why they're included in here now. For the ones that ended in November, so, but everything looked in order.
Oh, we left behind that for a power bill.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair and Mr. Treasurer, I just want
I
to
pay over $200 every month,
provide a little bit more information.
12 months a year.
One of the reasons our
Well, I got one place.
one of the reasons our cold weather bills are a little high is that this is our annual. We have to pay our annual lease for both the cold box and the test building, and under you can see the power bill, Minnesota Power. Our rates have gone up. We've been using a fair amount. Well, we've had some fair amount of activity there, which is reflected in that. But also under Jackson Electric, Tim's umbrella covers basically the management, on-site management of the whole facility, and which includes both the shop time, electric, coordinating with the test groups. There's a lot that falls into that, and one of them is, which we budget for every year now, is we get a certain amount of snow, we have to shovel the roof off of the entire shop, which is a fairly sizable building. If we don't, we run into ice buildup, and it's a safety issue, and we get leaks in the building. We've looked at fixing the roof at considerable cost. It's like $70,000 to fix the problems in the roof. So rather than do that, we've been shoveling, and I think the bill was $1,800 to manually shovel off the roof. But that's part of doing business. What's that?
Does he do it, or do
He gets younger people.
Oh, good. I was going to say, God bless him if he's up there on the roof. It's hard enough hanging on the ground when it snows, let alone a metal roof.
They've got a pretty safe way of doing it. But I just wanted to clarify. And people say, that's part of the cost of doing business. Anyway, I hope that helps clarify.
Garage door too, looks like you had to have a replacement garage door also. A couple of them faced recently.
Yeah, there's a couple.
What happens, and thanks for pointing that out. We've got on the big cold box over there. We've gone through a series of doors. We've had a lot of problems. They freeze up, they break. It's constant maintenance. And then we've got a large truck customer that was with us early. We had some other customers, and they came back. They've got the height of the vehicles is such that we have to modify the doors every time these guys come back because we have to get additional opening space on there. And so it requires some time with Mr. Myers to modify the door every time. So it's a pain in the butt. We haven't got a good fix for that, but it is what it is. And again, it's reflected in the bills here. So.
All right, thank you for that explanation. Any other questions, comments? All right, we don't need a second. The treasurer has moved. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Continue, please, Treasurer Taylor.
I will go next to the Keda financials themselves, and once again, everything looked in order. Same story with the November financials on there that we're looking at. They weren't here on time, but said everything looks in order. I'd recommend that we accept them and approve them.
Okay.
I'll second.
Do we have any further discussion?
I'd just like to say, by looking at it, appears we had a fairly good year in 2024
Yes.
compared to before, Paul.
Yes, I think that's a fair statement. Again, we've been very mindful of the budget. We have to, just by virtue of how we're funded here. And kudos to Kyra and just we've been very prudent in staying close to budget, making some adjustments. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
And on a side note, I think I initialed everything I was supposed to without getting brought back. So,
Thank you.
All right. We have a motion and a second to acknowledge the Koochiching Economic Development Authority Treasurer's Report. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Very good. Thank you. Director Nevenin, you're on next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and mindful of the time here, but I did want to welcome Mayor Dill to the board here, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, Mayor, but I know you've got a lot on your plate and learning a lot about the city and what your role there, but just wondering if you could share with us maybe some of your thoughts there on economic development or goals that you look as you look at the city and as it relates to community or economic development. Well, I just I'm sure we've had some preliminary discussion just around after your election about economic development. So.
Thank you. I'm humbled to serve the city of International Falls, and I'm excited. And economic development, it's always an interesting topic, but it's exciting when we get a win, and we don't always get a win, but there's a lot of really fine people out there that have the same agenda that ultimately we will, of moving our city and region and county ahead economically. And so to work with you folks on things that I assume are going to come up just by default, by nature, opportunities in business and business expansion and housing and all the things that make a community and a region tick is going to be really exciting going forward. We're having the same struggles we've probably had for the last 50 years, and we've identified what our struggles are, but we also know what we do well, and so focus on the good and keep moving forward.
Beautiful, thank you. And as we talked around this table for the last number of years, and Mike and Alan are senior members of this organization, we've had some success, but we've had a lot of challenges, and we realize that going in that this is hard work, and it doesn't happen overnight. Mike, I know you used to have something written on your day planner. What was it? It was about patience or something. What was? Do you remember?
I know it, but you're asking someone that's old.
Yeah,
He has a lot of patience, but not much memory.
yeah.
Mr. Chair, and in fact, I'm glad that you asked the mayor that, and I haven't chatted with you about this, but Mr. Chair, I was wondering if next month, if we could have on the agenda a little bit of discussion about holding some sort of strategic meeting to sit down and talk about it a little bit, and a meeting where we just don't come in and pay the bills, and or extend the monthly meeting that we have. But I think that way there it would give us an opportunity and to talk about the history of the place and to also bring up some ideas that might end up being goals. So if you would ask the director if you could put it on the agenda next month, I'd appreciate that.
Mr. Neverland, would you do that, please?
I would be happy to. And
We'll begin the discussion next month for strategic planning.
Yeah, that's all. I'm not asking to do it next month, but
No,
Yeah.
no, we'll begin the discussion next month. Yes.
yeah, no, and we have in the past we've done several strategic planning sessions. The last several years it's been less formal, and it's just basically brainstorming rather than a strategic goal setting. But however this group would like to proceed, I think that's always good to kind of take some time and talk about kind of goals and what ideas about maybe things that we should pursue or on top of what we're doing now. So.
And then time changes and situations change, and the strategic plan should reflect the changes that have happened and how we will deal with them in the future. So, yes.
All right, very good. I will add that. A couple of items under the director's report, and of course the holidays were over our period here, so that's reflected in a very brief director's report. But did want to touch on, and this is Mayor Dell. I've talked a little bit about this. It was a project that we've been working on for some time, and that's the rail-served warehouse project that's out to multimodal. I believe the developer's agreement's about 2 years old now, Pete.
Yeah, I was just before I got on.
Yeah.
Then the purchase agreement.
Purchase agreement with the Falls EDA.
Yeah.
And again, that is the nature of this work, is that it takes time to put these together, and it's fairly complex. The whole field of logistics, as we've talked, is a complicated one, but we're confident that Felix Asamoto and his group from the Twin Cities can make this a reality. To that end, I've been working with, yesterday in fact, City Administrator Bergstrom and we have an application with DEED for a MIF application, which is a loan, basically a fund that the state has for job creation and investment, where they will provide money to the city's EDA. The EDA will provide a low-interest loan to Onesimus for portions of the project. So we've been working with DEED. Chet Bodine is our representative, and he's been with us from the beginning on this project, and he's very supportive of it. So we had to do some tweaking to the agreement. We sent that back to Chet for review, and we should be hearing from the state on that. In addition, Felix is working on going through the National Foreign Trade Zones Board to activate the site. We do have FTZ designation for the entire county. That has been approved. But when you have actual activity, you have to go through a formal process to define where that activity is going to occur. You have to work with customs. It's a process, and it takes time, and there's some expense to that. But so we're starting that process, and part of that, of course, is to cover the project area, but also Felix is working with a group out of Indonesia that wants to start sending containers in March, April timeframe. I don't know if we can make that timeframe work, but that's why he's initiating this now, to at least temporarily set up an area, a fenced, secure area, where we can receive some containers. The amount is, at this time, not quite defined. It's like several a month. But that would be a really good start to this whole process, to actually have a site and accept containers. So we'll keep you posted on
And
that.
does he, excuse me, and does he, so the containers, I assume, would come on the rail car?
Correct.
And then does he have a company or trucks to then deliver them from there?
He would set up, on a temporary basis, he would have an area that would be secure where they could take the containers and either take materials off the containers, repackage them, put them on a truck and ship them out, or put them back on the rail. So yeah, that's the plan.
And he doesn't need a building for that?
Well, he will eventually, and we're working actually to try to find a temporary location for that.
Oh,
But to
okay.
accept the containers within the zone,
All right.
he's going to need. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a two-step process, but it's in the works. And then he's still working on his bank financing. He's had to have some changes to his board and his investment group, so it's required some additional time, but he's working on that as well. So again, I talk with Felix at least twice a week to make sure that if he has questions or that he gives me progress reports. But I would invite him again to speak to this board either next month or in March to provide a personal update.
I like how you phrase that, Paul. You're really phrasing to keep them going in the right. Yeah. Not just like that, and I've said this many times here, but for the people who might be watching, this whole thing is an example of how long it can take, considering how long ago the multimodal area was developed, and then it took with some hits, some misses,
Right.
but which happens, but it's still there and it's still ready to use whenever, 5 years ago or when it first started. So I had to mention that as an example of
Yeah.
it can take long. And you got to have a little foresight in how important having things ready to go is.
Well, that's just it, and it's a good point. And even though we got FTZ designation in 2003. That's how long it's been before we actually. And we do have DigiKey as a sub-zone user in Thief River, but to have something on the ground here with jobs, and just bringing in utilities to that site and having it, on the truck route is a big plus. But still, it's taken that amount of time. So, a couple other quick items, just and. I had to put this on there. The our cola testing season is going strong. This recent cold spell is a timely reminder, though, that even though we've made a lot of progress in equipment and technology to help vehicles and equipment start, we had a cold weather test customer that had to have trucks transported up here. It was so cold the transports didn't start, and they couldn't get the cold weather testing vehicles off the transports. And I was hoping Commissioner Roach would be here because he helped or tried to assist getting these hydraulics unfrozen, get these vehicles started. They gelled up. It took 3 days to get these vehicles. It ended up just pulling them off the transports. But so that's why we still do cold weather testing, and it's a reminder too to all those electric vehicle people that. We've got a long ways to go with that as well.
I see the Tesla truck still chugging around.
Yeah, the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to him about his performance in the cold.
That's ironic, to say the least.
Yeah.
You bring vehicles to test and
Yeah.
go.
Kind of explains so that nothing's good at 30 below. No matter what you do.
Yeah. And then I had a chance to visit with local radio. They wanted to discuss kind of year end and kind of looking ahead, which is always a great opportunity. And then the University of Minnesota Extension, that group, I know Councilor Kaler's been
The
involved in
bar is
that.
getting a little heavy, Paul.
Yeah.
No, that's fine, but it's funny. There won't be much left. But that's fine. I enjoy it.
But this group is following up with extension staff. There was a survey that was conducted, and as a result of the results of that survey, it's like, okay, now what do we do with this information? And the whole point of this was, what can the University of Minnesota Extension provide in terms of resources to help benefit the citizens of Cooch County? That's a grand, kind of broad goal, but so we're trying to figure out. We've got some county folks, some city folks, some out county folks looking at this, and I always try to just focus on something tangible that you can do, that's easily achievable, and rather than have something that's broad and long and kind of vague. And we've been through this exercise before, I guess, and so there's a little bit of cynicism, but again, if we can reach out to people like the University of Minnesota Extension, and if they're offering up resources, I think you always have to at least respond.
And I think that comes from doing this before, though. How many had you've learned, right? You need something tangible they can do to build some momentum to go on to the next thing, so people don't get disenchanted, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, so they asked, it's like, what would make a difference in people's lives in Koochiching? Well, add population, add jobs. Okay, how do you do that? Oh, well, you're back to square one. We need housing. Oh, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to approach that topic? So again, we'll see where it goes. But I know some of you know John Bennett from the U of M Extension. Anytime somebody from outside the area wants to help in any way they can with Cooch, I think we respond as best you can. So.
And also,
Carrie
you start with broad goals, or just mentioning anything. It's like the stickers on the wall. But then someone has to boil that down to get to maybe 4, 5, reasonable, achievable goals. It's not necessarily bad to have kind of lofty goals, except that to make it practical, that needs to be. And are you a regular member of the group?
Yes.
Is it a large group? Is there a smaller
Extension?
group?
Well, this extension
that
group is
little
a
group,
committee.
There's like
12?
7 to 12 that
Yeah.
show up for extension meetings.
Yeah, it's a small group. But,
All right. Well,
but it's got.
that's doable.
But-
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and at the end, you're right, Alan. Somebody has to do the work too.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
You identify, and then that was part of the problems with who we've had in the past, Voyage Forward, that nobody had standing to actually do anything, or that had funding to do much. So you have to be able to commit to it.
Right. And it would be a good report for this group to
Yes.
come to this group. To do
And with that, I would take any questions, or that's all I have. Again, a very brief director's report.
Do you have any questions for Director Neville? All right. Thank you. The next item is other city, county, or updates. And we can start with you, Commissioner McIntyre.
We are just starting negotiations, or the beginning of it, with the DNR to lease the armory. We would have to fix it up to make a good space for them, but that amount of square footage and everything kind of fits their needs. So we're just kind of doing a rough assessment on what needs to happen to get that building back into commission. And then all the DNR folks would be in one place. I know the county uses it for storing sheriff's vehicles, and the city, I think, uses it for storing some vehicles also in the fenced-in area. And then we're in negotiations with county employees too about wages going forward. That's about what's
The one thing about their ads in there a couple of years ago, for the first time in years, it takes some work, but the storage parts where the sheriff's uses to store the bolts and that's still in pretty good shape.
Still
I
in
mean, I
pretty
could
good
see
shape,
where they'd be
yeah.
interested, yeah.
Hey, can I ask you, so that was a question I always had, and I think the DNR looked at this a few years ago,
Mhm.
if you could put them all on one campus. They have that location just past Second Bridge, just east
Yeah.
of there, right on the water. That's a really nice piece of real estate.
Yeah.
If they could move that to, is that what this
It's
is?
in, yeah, they would move out of there. That's like school trust land, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And those are temporary, they're like
They're like,
modular homes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
growing
so-
over.
it would be a good economic benefit to fix up that armory, get them in there, get them leasing that space and
Do something with it.
Absolutely.
yeah, and you know, there's lots of acres or square footage to make another fenced-in area, and even to build another garage if needed to store some of the
Yeah.
county/city stuff.
So yeah, I think it goes all the way to Fifth Ave from Fourth Ave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Third
big.
Ave, but
It's the whole
yeah,
block.
yeah.
Yeah,
I remember when that was big times watching them build that.
Well, and I think they would be good neighbors too to there's some it's right in the middle of residential on the edges there. That I think they would be good neighbors as well.
I might as well date myself some more. So remember when the DNR moved, this will be the third iteration if it comes through, when they were with the Woodlands offices.
the building is in fair shape. I think the roof is good, just from not heating it. Water comes in some of the vents, but you know, with some fix up, it could be the heating system probably needs an upgrade. It probably hasn't been upgraded since it was new, but you know, there's lots of potential there.
Yeah, that was built I think to DOD specs, so it's pretty solid.
Yeah, there's hardly a crack in the outside of the building, so it's in good shape.
Any other questions for Commissioner? All right, and we'll, the city and
Then,
Councilor Kaler, Mayor Dill.
Well, just things that on top of my head, speaking of housing, through the EDA, like I've mentioned before with Bolton, and we have Bolton and Beek now doing the plating survey, see how it'll work. We have a meeting tomorrow to see how that's going. Hopefully here in a little bit, have an open house so people can come see what we're thinking about. And what it is, it's the 3 sections of town with different, like more modular homes, not like double wides, but like Stenberg or something. And more higher end homes in a part of town, and then in another part of town, small homes, not tiny homes, but smaller homes. And part of that is just like we said, you know, you got to have special contract. They like to have all the infrastructure there, you know, so you can move in, and there's some opportunities for money to help you get the infrastructure in there and the utilities. But to do that, you have to have a plan and plat it and stuff like that. So we've been working on that since late summer. And then speaking of housing,
guys, I have an appointment at
I
10:40.
believe the mayor
You guys have a good day.
and
Thanks,
city
Will.
administrator are meeting with the HRA about some possible
we are about
housing.
some multifamily housing with apartments and
Yeah.
renovations and whatnot. We had their first EDA meeting of the new year last night. So the housing study was one of the topics. Had a city council meeting last night, a regular one.
Yeah.
And it was lengthy,
Lengthy, yeah.
hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yep.
So not, I think Pete covered most of what's on the economic development
Yeah.
front at the moment, other than regular city business as usual.
All right, any questions? Okay, I have to leave also. You are now in charge.
Before you leave, Mr. Chair, could we pick out a date for next month?
Yes, good idea.
And on top of that date, I'd like to also add a date, if the personnel committee, if we could call, Alan, if I could have you call a meeting with the personnel committee. It was Alan, Mike,
Ricky.
and Rick Roach as the personnel committee to review the
Who
Staff.
is it?
You, Mike, and Ricky.
Okay. All right, let's do the regular meeting first. The 19th is the third Wednesday.
I'm pretty sure I won't be here that day, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and is there a better date for
Well,
you?
the 26th.
All right,
airport.
That'll be airport.
Yeah, it's hard to have both.
how about the 12th?
Too early.
They don't, you can't do your accounting.
How about the 18th, which is a Tuesday?
How about,
I won't be here.
18th?
Will the county have their meeting?
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
24th work, it's a Monday.
24th, the 24th, Monday?
I'm here.
All right,
How about,
10 o'clock?
On the 24th?
Yep.
So we'll move right ahead with the Elk County update. Mayor, I represent the rural area of Koochiching here, so that's the reason I show up. I also, prior to our meetings, contact North Holmes, Big Falls, Little Fork to see what they're doing. Both Little Fork is going through some staff changes. The deputy clerk treasurer for the past 10 years resigned, and she got a job with the MPCA working from home as an accounting technician. And a young lady by the name of Carly Anderson, who used to be a 2-star, is going to be her replacement. They just had a public hearing at 7 o'clock to talk about street paving project, which would mean assessments. The city pays the engineering fees, and the assessment to residents would be $1.6 million. So Little Fork's doing that. A new counselor, Whitney Sims, has been sworn in to the council for a 4-year term. A joint powers agreement is being dissolved between the city of Little Fork and the School District 362, and it's regarding the Community Education Recreation Committee. And they're having their own celebration February 13th to the 16th, and it's called Snow Fun Days, and it's pretty amazing. So for how few people they got, how many turnout, and all of the volunteers they have to do that. Northholm told me it's quiet there, and she whispered that it's cold, thinking that maybe
Maybe it'll go away or won't spread.
warmer up here. Not too many things going on in Big Falls right now, except they got a new website, a reworked website.
Really
And the big news there is Mr. Dick Ferguson is the new mayor. Just got elected, just got sworn in. And I talked to him yesterday about Keda, and he's interested in coming to join us and meet us, and I think he's going to be here next month, just to join and to sit in. So that's important. I and Paul toured the end of school, and the John Kennedy and Oswald newspapers were in their library, and they still don't know exactly what the future is going to hold. So that's why they're sitting on a table there. One from the Daily Journal, November '63, and one from the Duluth News Tribune. It was something that other generations can't quite get, but I asked our chairman when I came in today, where were you? And anybody that's still alive, this was a real impact, especially to everybody's memory. And I don't know that if I could talk to anybody in my generation that doesn't remember where they were at when it happened. It was so surprising. Such a talented young man. I don't know anything's happened at the end of school, they open them, they ask for bids on that school, and as far as I and Paul know, they never received any at this time. So I don't know what the future is. Obviously they're heating it. And when we were talking about coal testing earlier, it reminded me of a story that past Mayor Murray told me. And this is when we were really trying to hustle a place west of Little Fork for a world-class test site. And Mayor, just to make it quick, we got funding from the legislature, both houses of the legislature, and we were patting ourselves on the back. And the next day the governor line item vetoed it out of it. During that process, there were multiple companies that came and said that they were interested in setting a cold weather test facility here. So we were negotiating with them and kind of had a handshake that with a couple of them that we were going to host them. This is what we're going to do. And another one came and talked to the mayor, and the mayor had to tell him, you know, we're in the process right now of moving forward, but maybe I can help you out. So he called Badette, and they went to Badette in the end, and of course it was AET in Badette, and they've done wonders there. They've helped the community to no end. They were recently sold to TRC Incorporated, and their site is big. It's 470 acres, and this company also has two other sites, one in Ohio with 4,500 acres, and one in California with 225. In Badette, they have 5 coal chambers. They actually have facilities for the people to stay in, and they have on-site lodging. They have 15 heated bays. That's how many cars are coming through there. And I have a conference center, even have a catering kitchen inside of it. I don't know what Mayor Murray think about today, but it made sense at the time to try to keep them up north. And that's how they got to Badette. One of the things that has happened in Cooch, and it's pretty cool, is the tech committee. And this was just hosted in Birchdale. And we had 11 people show up for 2 days of training, and every one of them got a free laptop. And it was designed mainly for seniors, but there was a couple students that came and they got free laptops too. They also, and this was run by Corey Horton. She brought out some young folks from the school. So if there was any kinds of questions anywhere, they kind of toured the room. And it's a big deal to these people to, try to get their imprint. So everyone walked out after 2 days with a free laptop. And we're talking right now about February, but maybe it might leak into March. She's coming back and getting those same seniors together to say, how'd it go? Is there a way we can help and kind of push forward? And I know that this is the only place that she's done this, and indeed, Paul is working with her right now to do some other areas in South Cooch. It's a pretty big deal. The other thing I brought you is, and I know as elected folks, you got this, it is the Koochiching County Historical Society of Museums, all of their financial stuff for the year. And I know that they are moving forward and are going to try to get a little bit more active in the community as well as with the folks who run it. The other thing I brought you is the annual North Star Electric composite of what they did and what they're doing. And, I know that we're always seemingly, well, we're not, they always talk about Minnesota Power. And recently, North Star had just been revived by their generation facility, that for the first time in 7 years, they're going to raise the price of wholesale power. you know, and North Star is a nonprofit, so I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I know that my power bill is going to go up, and you know, you don't want to point fingers, and it's not their fault; it's life's fault right now. That the generation facility is just costing a lot more to produce the energy, and of course, as you all know, there is a tremendous change right now in the vernaculars that are being used, and the push of renewables. North Star has hydro, wind, solar, coal, and I would imagine in the last 2 days they're actually a generation facility that generates more than they use normally. But I would guess the last few days probably stretched them out, made it difficult. And that's just about all I have, other than there's a whole new kind of, and I guess you can use the word generation in the Birchdale, Loman, Clemenson area, who are stepping in and taking over the management of the Birchdale Community Building and the facilities, and also the things that they do to raise money. The sturgeon contest, band and a burger, 4th of July parade, on and on. And the reason they do that is right now it costs $1,000 a month to have that building sit there. So I'm bringing that up, so I want you to know that, you know, the rural areas are struggling, as they are all over the north of Minnesota. But, you know, it's their job to raise $1,000 a month to pay the heat and the liability and so forth and so on.
I'll be more than happy to go down there and buy pizzas again if they have another pizza sale that was up for the school
You know,
last year.
when spring starts, they are again going to have their Saturday morning breakfast. And that is just put on by people who are working for the community. Though there are a few who, if it's an association wants to raise money, they'll vacate the kitchen to have them come in there and show them exactly how to do it. So there are groups that are stepping forward, and it helps a lot. One of the folks who's sitting there with and they're going to have a real say-so is Mrs. Hasbarger, and I thought maybe she might have something to say. It's a big challenge.
Sure, put me on the spot.
Well, you know, I'll give you, you might just sell, I'll guarantee buying at least 3 pizzas if you have a pizza sale again like last year.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
We're always looking for new fundraisers.
Yeah.
No, you guys do a great job on there, Mike, and thank you for your report. Can I add a couple things to what you said, if you don't mind?
And I'm going to just give this to the mayor. This is northeastern Minnesota, including us. It's a monthly publication,
Yep.
and it's going to be a lot about what's going on.
Thank you.
It is, yeah.
Well, you don't have enough to read. I know how that goes.
No, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. And just a couple things. Yeah, KTI, it's a citizens committee, Koochiching Technology, and Corey's a member, and she's also a member of, what's it called? I don't want to go there because it's, I'll forget. But
AmeriCorps.
yeah, AmeriCorps member. Thank you. The initial focus was to make sure that Cooch had as connectivity and broadband and access to broadband, and there's been a lot of progress throughout the county. You see, even now they're splicing cable. You see these independent groups. Anyway, so the broadband providers have come a long way. And then the next phase is, okay, so we've got all this broadband capacity, what do we do with it? So PCs for People stepped forward and provided some reworked laptops, and now it's getting out and it's focusing on seniors so that they can use technology or being able to use it and utilize it rather than just have it available but not know how to use it. So that's going to be the continued focus, is to get out and help people use these devices efficiently and have them access it. So that's great. AET, I've worked in my previous life a lot with former owner Larry Larson, who is a tremendous entrepreneur, but that is one of the nicest test facilities, and it's the nicest cold weather test facility I've ever been to, and I've been to quite a number of them. But they were bought out by Transportation Research Center of Ohio, which is a big player in the automotive testing and safety. So that was a big thing for Baudette, but it is a great facility. And they actually hosted, you can see some TV commercials with Honda and I think Acura. They're on the proving grounds there with the TV commercials. You can see the vehicles on there. Yeah, hats off to the folks over there because they've really done a great job. They do a lot of dynamic testing over there. They have snow courses for handling and suspension and ABS and all the rest of it. So anyway, we'll just add that. But
I just like that a perfect example of what two things about the KTI. We have, speaking of the multimodal, now we have internet there.
Yeah.
Because those folks did in. If you notice if you remember that, we paid off our half last night for that project. The 332 internet, that's what that was. So then I know last year they were at the Veterans Lodge a couple times.
Yep.
And some guys came there and they went to West Falls, I think, and some other places and showed how to use the computers, and the young people also got to hear some stories, which was good for everybody.
how to use those too?
Yep.
Yeah. No, thanks.
Lastly, Mayor, we hold a couple of meetings a year out county, and we've been in Little Fork and North Home and Big Falls and Birchdale. And because of the increase in power, I'm hoping that one of our meetings is in the out county. We can get the general manager of North Star to come and sit with us, just to kind of give an overview of what's costing right now. It's just phenomenal. A pole has doubled in price, and we've got 2,700 poles. It takes up to 3 years to get a bucket truck right now. You know, it's hard to anticipate when you got to buy things 3 or 4 years before you get them. But anyway, that's one of the things I'd like to accomplish this summer, Mr. Chair. I guess there's really no sense in calling for public comment. Does anybody have anything else they would like to add before we? I would accept a motion for adjournment.
I'll move.
Second.
We got it. We don't have a quorum. We have to sit here. So